Alright, hello everyone, welcome to part 3 of the Hollow Knight Steelheart tutorial. We'll go ahead and jump into the City of Tears here. As I said in the last video, this is kind of the part of the run where we start to depart from the speedrun route. We are still going to be following the segments of that route, but we're going to be changing up the order. And I am kind of improvising on what order we're going to do things in. And you can too. This is part of the run where that's kind of okay. But I'm just letting you know so that you'll see me, when you see me kind of go one way and then change my mind and turn around. That's because I don't have things exactly planned out here. I do think this will still be useful as far as demonstrating the route, but hopefully me kind of doing a little bit of wandering here and there isn't going to muddy the waters too much for you. Alright, so you saw that I turned around there. We came back to get this grub. And then while we're over here, I'm going to go ahead and fight the gorgeous husk. It's not something you necessarily need to do, but he does give us quite a bit of geo, and just so we make sure we have enough, we'll go ahead and fight him. And if you don't know, he's here in this room right here. You just go through the little tunnel. He drops about 400 geo. And is very easy to kill, so. You don't want to kill him too close to that right wall, because I think sometimes the geo gets stuck over there, so that's what I was waiting on. Alright, now we're going to be making our way to the Royal Waterways. We'll pick up a few extra items in there that we didn't get last time. And when we go through here, we're going to have to watch this cutscene. Well, we don't have to watch it. Hornet's going to tell us that we need to go fight her. We're going to say sure thing and then immediately run the other direction. Alright, so we're going into the waterways. This time we're going to go to the left and head toward the fungal wastes. There's a grub we're going to pick up along the way and a mass shard as well. So the grub is in the breakable wall right here. And then these rooms, you can kind of grab these ledges and crystal dash across. We'll do the same thing in the next room too. Yeah, as long as you're low enough to clear those little platforms, you'll be fine. And here you want to be just a little bit lower because there's an enemy that you want to make sure you get under, that guy. Sometimes he can be a little bit lower than that. We'll get this mass shard. And kind of what we're doing right now is just going around making sure we get some geo. So that's why we're going this way. We're going to get those grubs. We'll go visit Grub Father to get a lot of geo. And then we're going to get these mass shards as well. So we can get, you know, our nail upgrades and have a couple extra masks before we go back to do the Hornet Sentinel fight. Alright, when you come out through or into the fungal wastes, you want to drop down, get Dashmaster, and then we're going to go up and save BRETTA. Once we save BRETTA, we can get the mass shard that's in her house. And then while we're over here, we'll also go back and fight the Mantis Lords, since we didn't do that before. And I don't sit at the bench here, but you can. We have a Dream Gate there by King Station, so any benches you feel like you need to sit at is fine. And I'm trying to kind of gather soul for the fight here, but obviously if you get hit a bunch, that causes you to miss the opportunity. When you come through here, you can just kind of poker your way up through there, and then you just want to fall all the way to the bottom. Make sure you dash here to not land on those spikes. You can also get soul from these guys. That one you can cheese through the floor. Alright, and in this fight, it's pretty easy. We can use the Descending Dark when they dash across the screen, like that, to get some good damage on them. When they're on the wall like that, if we had Abyss Shriek, we would use it, because it deals a lot of damage to them, but we don't have it yet. Yeah, anytime they do their little spear throw move from the wall, you will have time to heal. So if you need to heal, that's a good time to do that. Yeah, and sometimes you can luck out and hit both of them with the Descending Dark like that. Alright, so that's Mantis Lords. We'll go up to the treasury here and make sure we pick up Mark of Pride and then the Hollowness Seal and the Geo chests that are in there. And Grimm is kind of a jerk now that you've beat the Mantis Lords. All of the Mantises are peaceful, but he will still shoot them and aggravate them, so just be aware of that. Also, I mentioned earlier that we're done with Grimm. I did forget to unequip him, but you can unequip him back there at King Station and just put on another charm that you'd rather have. There's no reason to be carrying him around here. I just forgot. Alright, we're headed up to the fungal core here. There's a mass shard in Deep Nest that we can only access through the fungal core, so we're gonna go get that. And once we have that, we can just save and quit back to the menu. Or you can also Dream Gate back. And the route through here is basically just go down and left. And it's okay to tank a few damage. I heal here, and it's kind of silly to do that, because this mass shard is going to heal us, because it's the 4th one. So if you prefer to keep your soul, just keep it and heal with the mass shard. Alright, next order of business, we're going to go back up to the... We're going to stag to DIRTMOUth, but then go down to Forgotten Crossroads. There's 2 grubs there that I'm going to grab. And the Mask Shard. Not the one behind Malek, but just the free one with all the golems. And then we'll go up and visit Grubfather. Oh, yeah, here's where I ditched Grimm. At this point, I was thinking that I would go into Fog Canyon and go ahead and get the Charm Notch that's there, as well as pick up the Fragile Charms. And I think I ended up not doing that, but it is a good idea to do it here. But you definitely don't want to take Grimm into Fog Canyon because of all the explosive jellyfish. He will shoot those guys and activate them, and it can cause lots of problems. So before you go to Fog Canyon, you want to make sure you don't have Grimm equipped. Alright, so I come over here and get this grub, and then you'll see me act like I'm going to go to Fog Canyon through the acid here. And for whatever reason, I change my mind and decide not to do it. And then I regret life. You can just fireball those guys if that happens to you. But I do recommend actually going ahead and getting that Charm Notch and Fragile Strength now. I'm not sure what made me change my mind there. Having Strength for the Hornet fight makes it that much easier, and there's no reason not to go get it. So I recommend going ahead and doing that here. Alright, so here's the Mass Shard we're gonna get. You could also do Malek now. He's not that difficult. I wait until later when we have the Abyss Shriek, because that just makes him really, really easy. But he's probably easy enough that you could just do it now, then you wouldn't have to come back down through the Crossroads again. Alright, and for the nail upgrades, we're going to need 3,050 Geo to get all 3. So we're going to go see Grubfather and just get whatever Geo he'll give us. Which will be more than enough, but... Oh, but we're going to save this grub first. And I apologize to that grub opening his cage so that the Vengefly can immediately explode infection all over him. Probably wasn't the kindness. Alright, so now we just sit here and let Grubfather give us a bunch of stuff. And we are going to save all of the grubs, so we will come back here later once we've saved everything and get the Grubberfly's elegy and the Paylor and whatever else he has. He gave us the Grub Song charm there. That's one that's actually going to be pretty useful for us when we do White Palace. White Palace is a platforming section that's a little bit challenging, and you know, it's easy to get hit a lot there, but if you have Grub Song equipped, then every time you get hit, you will get some soul, and so you can kind of get hit and heal over and over again. We'll also equip Hive Blood, which basically will just make us immortal for that section, which is nice. Alright, we get the Mass Shard from Bretta, and we get the Mass Shard from Sly. And now we have 7 masks, which is enough for us to kind of continue with fighting bosses. So the next order of business is to go get the nail upgrades. And I'm going to head over there to get those nail upgrades, and on my way I'm going to realize that I did not pick up the Paylor in the Ancient Basin, so I'm going to have to turn around again here to go do that. Like I said in the previous video, when you go through the Ancient Basin initially, that's a perfectly good time to get it. I just didn't do it because the speedrun actually routes it later, and it makes sense when the speedrun does it because they're taking a different route. But here I'm going to have to actually go out of my way to get it. So I recommend doing that then, but you know, if you forget, then you can do it later. And when you come over to get the nail upgrades, it's a good idea to sell all your relics to Lem. This will give us a lot of money, and then we'll be kind of free to spend it when and where we need. And there's the moment it dawns on me that I don't have enough Paylor. So you do need 3. The first nail upgrade is 250 Geo and doesn't require any Paylor. But then the second one requires 1 Paylor and 800 Geo, and the third one requires 2 Paylor and 2000 Geo. So that's a total of 3050 Geo and 3 Paylor. And here you can see what it looks like when you actually get all the way across this room, since we got hit going through the first time. And I just dropped down out of habit again and realized I've gone the wrong way. So the Paylor is over here as well as a grub, and then Cloth is also over here. We didn't talk to Cloth previously, so I don't know that she'll be here now. But if you did talk to Cloth and want to continue that, she will be up top above this room. You have to fight some enemies and clear them out, and then she'll pop up. Watch out for the bellflies through here. And then I need to go up and get soul from this guy, so I can have a D-Dark. Fighting these guys, you want to kind of stay close to them and then dash away when they attack. If you get too far away, they'll spit acid at you, which just clutters things up. So it's easiest if they only ever do their melee attack. Alright, now we can go get the nail upgrades. You've seen this a few times now, but you can just dash clear across this room if you jump up on that wall as you come through the door. And we've already killed these guys and haven't set it a bench. And then once you get there, you can dash and dash for quite a ways. And then when you come into this room, you can dash across it, but you'll have to jump up, and right where that little knob is, that's where you want to be. That'll get you under those platforms. And then in this room, you can also just climb up this wall and dash straight over to the NAILSMITH.
Ranjo Stenja. Jonsha.
So we're going to get the 3 upgrades, which will give us Coiled Nail. There is a 4th upgrade, which you can come back for later if you want to. I don't end up doing it in this run, because I don't take the time to do Coliseum 2. Coliseum 2 is pretty safe, as long as you have, some good upgrades going into it. So it's not a problem to get that Paylor if you want to. And we'll get the other 2 as we go through the world, but I don't do Coliseum 2, so I don't come back for Pure Nail. Alright, now I'm going to go back to Kingdom's Edge to do the Hornet fight, but before I do that, I'm going to go down and get the Quick Slash Charm. I don't actually use the Quick Slash Charm in the Hornet fight. It's not particularly helpful for Hornet, but it will be very helpful for some other bosses. It increases your attack speed, and so you can, now that our nail's upgraded, you can very effectively dish out a lot of damage to certain enemies very quickly. So for bosses like Traitor Lord and Hive Knight, Quick Slash is going to be the golden ticket. And again, for the Hornet fight, I recommend that you equip Shaman Stone and Strength. And if you get a couple other notches, maybe Grub Song or Long Nail. I didn't go get Strength, and I kind of wish I had. It'll make the Hornet fight pretty free, because you'll just be able to deal so much damage that she just won't live for very long. And she's certainly beatable with the upgrades that we have, but I played pretty poorly against Hornet, so having that extra upgrade would have helped. Alright, here we get the dash slash for the percentage, but we don't actually use dash slash at all during the run. It is useful against bosses like Markoth, because he has that Dream Shield and it does have a lot of range, the dash slash does. But there's just not a lot of opportunities in this run to make good use of it. But it does count as a completion percentage, and it helps us get the Nail Master's Glory, which is also a percentage. These primal aspids through here, I usually just fireball them to get them out of the way. It's not worth trying to hit them with your nail, because you'll have to hit them multiple times, unless you do a great slash. And fireball is usually pretty effective. Alright, we'll come up and get this grub. Don't forget him. And then I set that Dream Gate back there. Again, it's a very, very small time save. You can just climb up out of this room and you'll immediately be back where that Dream Gate is. But what it lets me do is not have to come out of this room with a bunch of aspids shooting at me. Alright, and now we're on our way to Hornet. And this fight will be a lot easier now that we have Coiled Nail and 7 masks versus the Old Nail and 5 masks. Oh, we're going to save this grub first. Try not to get hit a bunch by the aspids on your way to Hornet. It's not helpful. There also is a bench up there by Hornet, so if you want to change your equipment, that's available to you, or if you need to heal. So anytime she does that needle throw, you want to do Descending Dark. And inventory screen is OP in this fight, so make sure you take advantage of that. So yeah, D-Dark when she does that. Fireballer when you have the chance. If she staggers and you have soul to heal, go ahead and heal. And then you want to kind of clear these spikes out when it's convenient for you to do so. Don't let them build too much. Yeah, and you can see I'm playing very badly. This fight is not as difficult as I'm making it look. And she does die pretty quickly, and she'll die even quicker if you equip Strength before coming in here. And your HP will get refilled after you try to exit the cast-off shell here. So don't worry about healing after the fight. There's nothing down here that can hurt you. You'll just Crystal Dash out, and then Hornet will come to your rescue. This does count as a hard save, so don't try to like quit back to a bench here, because you'll just respawn here. And since I set that Dream Gate down in the bottom of Kingdom's Edge, I'm going to have to walk back. If you don't set that Dream Gate, then you can just Dream Gate back to the station. And now that we have the King's Brand, we pretty much immediately want to go to the Abyss. That's where we'll get Abyss Shriek and Shade Cloak, which are both exceedingly good abilities. Abyss Shriek because it deals a ton of damage, and Shade Cloak because it gives you a ton of iframes. And when you go to the Abyss, you can just take the Stag to Hidden Station. I think because I recently went to Ancient Basin by the other route, I thought I would just go that way again. But the Stag's definitely faster, so do that. Yep, that's where I realized, oh, I'm supposed to Stag over there. Alright, and going through the Abyss, once you kind of open the door, I usually just dash across and then fall down the left side. You want to be careful to avoid some spikes here in a minute. And then if you line yourself up with that little black roof that's hanging down, you can actually dive through the whole room. I missed, I was too far to the left. But if you get the dive, it's pretty swag. Alright, and you can dash through here and use your Howling Wraith spell in this room to get the Abyss Shriek. And there's several bosses that we've kind of been waiting on fighting until we had this spell, just because it's that powerful. And it makes those bosses much, much easier. I try to get some soul from these guys because I'm empty, and we're about to go over and get the Shade Cloak. And to do that, you have to climb up a lighthouse where there's a bunch of shades, and they deal 2 damage. So, you know, you just want to have the opportunity to heal if you end up needing it. Having 7 masks, we're in pretty good shape for that room, but, you know, it's still a situation where a few mistakes can be pretty punishing if you have no soul. Because they don't give you soul. Any void creature in the game does not give you soul when you hit it with your nail. Which it's basically these guys and the collector. I don't remember if there are any others. And just take your time through that room. You can do it however you want. The main thing is just to stay alive through it. Alright, now we'll come over and get the Shade Cloak. This also counts as a hard save. I'm not real sure why, but it does. So you'll want to get out of here, you'll need to use a Dream Gate. Otherwise you'll have to climb back up the abyss. Because you can't save and quit, you'll just spawn here. Alright, so now we'll Dream Gate back. We pick up that Arcane Egg just to have some more Geo buffer. I don't think we even end up selling it in the run, so you don't need it, but it's good to have. Alright, and now it is time to start chasing down the Dreamers. So we're going to start with Monomon, but before that we're going to come up, we're going to fight Grimm. So that when we get down to Hera, we can get the flame from Brum to start the banishment quest. So go ahead and equip Grimm and head to his tent. And Grimm is one of those fights that you are gonna need to know. It's not very difficult once you know the fight, but you need to know his tells and be able to navigate the fight pretty safely. There's no real shortcut way to just take him down really, really fast. So you'll want to be aware of what his moves are at least. If you attack him there, he'll go straight into his balloon phase. If you Dream Nail him, then he'll just kind of start the fight normally. And then you can kind of see what I'm doing. If he does his little dash uppercut, dash away, turn around and hit him. If he does that, just dash over those bats and hit him. This move you'll just need to find the in-between space. And then once those things pop up, you can actually dash through them pretty quickly. And get over and get a hit in on him. Alright, once he staggers the first time, the next thing he does is going to be the balloon. And you can Abyss Shriek. If you have soul, do it twice. I did not think that I was going to have soul for 2, but I did, so I should have done that twice. If you hit him with 2, he'll very quickly go into the next balloon phase. And he does 3 of those. So anytime you kind of see him going into it, if you can get off an Abyss Shriek, you can get in a lot of damage there. Pretty lousy shot there on my part. Alright, if you manage to get him with a couple of Abyss Shrieks on the last phase there, then he just doesn't have much health left and he'll die pretty quickly afterward. Like I said, it's not a hard fight, but it is one you need to be familiar with, or it will be hard. And any of these fights that you need to practice, if you have another save file that has access to Godhome, you can go there and practice the fights until you feel pretty comfortable with them. And I even think it's a good idea sometimes in the middle of your Steel Soul run, if you're coming up on a boss that's kind of intimidating for you, you might want to quit out, go to your other file, and just get a couple of practice fights. Because a lot of the difficulty of doing Steel Heart is all of the pattern switching that your brain has to do. Even if you kind of already know the fights, and you're confident that you can beat them, sometimes you walk into a fight and your brain, takes a minute to just be like, oh, what am I supposed to do here? And by the time you are like, oh yeah, I remember this fight now, you've already lost a bunch of HP and you're at a disadvantage. So for the most part, if you're practiced, you'll be good, but if there is a fight that you're like, is kind of a little tricky for you, you can do it, but it's not always successful. It's worth the time to get a practice fight or two in first. Alright, so now we are going to come over and kill Malek. You'll see that he's pretty easy, especially now that we have the Abyss Shriek. He doesn't have very much HP, so you should be able to kill him pretty quickly. And I like to start with an Abyss Shriek and then dash away so you don't get clawed. And now that you have the Shade Cloak, if he tries to jump on you or anything, you can just Shade Dash through him and continue doing damage. He dies pretty quick. Alright, and now we are going down into Fog Canyon. I dash out of this room so I can just Crystal Dash through it. You just want to make sure if you do that, you stop before you hit the Goem. So if you were going to come get Strength earlier, this is the part of the run that you would want to do then, instead of doing it now. So we drop a Dream Gate there. There's a Charm Notch over here to the left. And this room can be a little bit troubling if you mess things up. D-Dark through there for the iframes. But these explosions deal 2 masks of damage. If you get into a really nasty spot, it might be worth it to just Dream Gate back out. And then try again once you've healed. Alright, now we're going to go over and get Leg Eater's Charms. He does give you a discount if you equip the Dung Defender's Charm, but we have plenty of Geo, so it's not anything you need to worry about. Alright, and now you want to go down and fight Elder Hu. This is another part where I kind of forgot what I was doing. I started going down that way, and then I couldn't remember why I was going that way. So I Dream Gated back, and as soon as I used the Dream Gate, I remembered, oh yeah, I need to fight Elder Hu. So now I have to retrace my steps a little bit. If you decided to come get strength before Hornet, it might be a good idea to fight Elder Hu then, just so you don't have to come back especially for him. But it's kind of a trade-off, I guess, if you want to do it then or later. If you do it then, you'll have level 1 Nail, so he won't have as much HP, which will make the fight pretty easy. But having Shade Cloak and Abyss Shriek also makes the fight very easy, even though he has more HP. So just kind of decide how you prefer to do the fight. And you can fight him at either time. I do recommend fighting him for his essence, even though it's not very much. There are some other Dream Warriors that you may choose to not fight because of difficulty, like Markoth or Marmu. And Master Hu is a really easy one, so... Or Elder Hu, sorry. I trained martial arts under a Master Hu, and so I constantly call this guy Master Hu instead of Elder Hu. Alright, now we can Dreamgate back to the Fog Canyon. And in this room there's a way to Descending Dark through the whole thing. You want to walk off this ledge, grab it, let go, and then Descending Dark. That'll get you all the way to the bottom without any trouble. You can also just fall there, but you do run the risk of hitting that last jelly if he's in the wrong place. You can hit those guys for soul. And then just Crystal Dash across here to get this grub. And once you get the grub, drop down and set a Dream Gate so that you don't have to walk back out of the Teacher's Archives once we're done in there. Alright, so you can go down through the Archives however you want. I wouldn't bother with fighting many of the enemies other than just hitting a few of these guys to get some soul. You do want soul for the Umu fight, because what you're gonna want to do is get him up in the ceiling, and then as soon as Coral opens him up, you'll want to Abyss Shriek him as much as you can. So try to stay high. He'll track you in between attacks, like he'll move to where you are. So once his attacks are done, you want to be kind of up at the top of the screen, pushing him towards the ceiling. And then after 3 attacks, Quirrell will get him, and then just jump up and Abyss Shriek, Abyss Shriek, Abyss Shriek. He'll get stuck in the ceiling and have to take all that damage, and it'll kill him immediately if you do it right. Alright, we want to come over here and get the first Dreamer. Monomon. And they take 10 hits, and then you could just focus soul to get their energy there. After that, we're going to make our way to Queen's Garden. I'm going to go down and stop at Queen Station and pick up the Mask Shard there. It is kind of optional. You can choose whether you want to pick up that Mask Shard or whether you want to buy the last Mask Shard from Sly. Like I said, we don't end up getting all of the Mask Shards. We don't get the 9th Mask. So yeah, you can determine which of the Mask Shards you want to get. If you want to get them all, you will need to come down and get this one. On the left over there is Millabelle's bank. If you give her, I think it's maybe 2,000 geo, some amount of money, she will run away with your cash. But you can get it back at the Pleasure House in City of Tears. You just need a simple key to get in there. But we don't mess with her at all in this run. So, just a fun little tangent for you. Alright, dash into this room, and then stop at that platform, and then dash across again, and you can get out of this room without taking any damage if you don't jump into that guy's needle. There's an arena coming up, so you can get some soul off of that guy, because you'll want a fireball for the arena, a couple of fireballs. And ideally, your fireballs will double hit here. It is one fireball and one nail hit, but if they double hit, then you will just kill them immediately. I did not, and I took a couple damage here. Alright, after that we'll come down here. You want to jump on that platform, dash back to the right, and then crystal dash. That'll get you through there easily. After that, come over here, up slash that guy, you'll knock him into the thorns for an insta-kill, and then hit the switch. Alright, we get to the bottom of this room, go ahead and set a dream gate here. And run into the thorns, that's always a good idea. And we're going to come over here and get the love key. There are 2 traitor mantises guarding it. So just, yeah, a D-Dark will pretty quickly dispense with them. And then a third one will spawn when we get the love key, but if you just turn and crystal dash immediately, you can get past him without any problem. Watch out for that guy. And now we're going to come over here and get the Spore Shroom charm, as well as this grub in Fungal Wastes. Alright, then we'll head back to the next room. We'll drop down into Deep Nest for one more grub. And when you drop down here, just hold right. I didn't do that and I end up missing the ledge. But if you just hold right the whole time, you'll hit that ledge. So now I gotta climb back up. And then go down through here, and then when you get to this room, go straight across, up, and hit that breakable wall. And there's a grub in here we want to save. There's 4 grubs, 3 of them are mimics. The third one is the real grub. So you can hit him and then Dreamgate back. Alright, this is the tree, the dream tree, or the whispering root that we're gonna hit for essence. And that's just because it's right there and all of the essence is kind of on our way, and this will help us make up for any uses of Dreamgate that we may have needed. And you don't have to get them all. It probably wasn't worth going up for that one. You can see I have 1216, so that gives me 16 more uses of Dreamgate, but we're probably not going to need that many. Coming through this room, feel free to just use spells on those guys. Be careful of those platforms. This room can be a little tricky, but it's not too bad. You can also just not bother fighting them. I'm kind of killing a lot of them, but skipping them is just as viable. However you want to do that room. We are going to sit at the bench over here. This bench is right next to the entrance to Deep Nest, so we're going to sit here, and then we'll go round up everything in Queen's Garden, and after we get the white fragment, we'll quit back to that bench so that we can go straight down to Deep Nest. Alright, there is an arena through here, and it's good to have some soul if you can get it. These mantises, you can get them in a pattern where you just pogo on top of them. If there's no other enemies around, and they'll just sit there and do a little upslash that doesn't hit you. But otherwise, yeah, make good use of your spells here. You can Shriek to hit the Petras, you can D-Dark on the Trader Mantises, and you can use these little needle guys to get some soul if you need it. When there's one Petra on the screen like this, if you need to heal, you can do that then. You have just enough time in between throws that you can get a heal in. Alright, come across here and get the grub. We want to go up to the top of this room, and we're going to set a Dreamgate there. And go to the left. So over here there is a grub, and then there is Marmu. There is an argument to be made for not fighting Marmu. It's very much kind of a random fight, and now that we have Coiled Nail, she's a Dream Warrior, so her HP does scale. So she'll have more HP than... It'll be too much for us to take her down very quickly. So you can just kind of determine how comfortable you are with this fight. But if you're not comfortable, I recommend skipping it. I have died to Marmu before in a Steel Heart run, and it's no good. Don't do that to yourself. I do fight her here. And you should be okay. It's one of those fights that most of the time you will be okay, and then there will be that one time when the pattern is just bizarre and your brain breaks and you die. So decide for yourself if you want to do that or not. Get on the right side of her, that way you can immediately throw some Abyss Shrieks as soon as she spawns. If you get real lucky, you can get in 3 there, but sometimes she'll pop out of the spell. And then once that happens, if she ever starts going like real fast and you need to use your Shade Cloak, To dodge, you can do that, and then just try to get her in a spot where you can hit her back and forth. She didn't give me a great pattern here because there's a lot of teleporting going on, but it ended up being okay. And then, you know, make sure if she flies over you, try to catch her with a shriek. Yeah, Marmot is not one of my better fights. But like I said, this is an essence that we will absolutely require. So you can decide if you want to fight her or not. But after that, you Dreamgate back, and we'll continue through Queen's Garden. I'm down on HP, so I was just hitting those guys for soul. But you want to go up and to the right. If you plan to do Flower Quest, make sure you hit that switch. And then this room seems a little complicated, but you can just drop down to the bottom platform and then just dash across. It's not bad at all. You'll want to set a Dream Gate right there. I decided to go up and kill that guy first for some reason. But Trader Lord is to the left there. We're going to go up and rescue another grub. But we'll want to be able to get back to Trader Lord pretty easily. And there's a second Mantis up there that I decided I'm just going to Abyss Shriek, so I came down to get some soul from this guy. Alright, and there are any number of fancy ways to get this grub, but if you just Crystal Dash across all of these sections, that'll probably get the job done for you. I try to be fancy here and jump up and grab that platform, and I miss. Alright, and now we're going to go on to the Trader Lord fight. Trader Lord deals double damage, which can be a little bit scary, but the fight isn't too bad once you kind of know what to look for. He does have a couple Mantises that you have to fight beforehand. As much as possible, you want to use these guys to get soul, and not get creamed by them like I did. If you have soul and your health is full, then before Mantis Lord or before Trader Lord ever drops into the arena, you can Abyss Shriek him 2 or 3 times. I'm gonna have to use my soul to heal here because I just did not perform well against these guys. But right then, you jump up as soon as you see those clouds, just drop a bunch of Abyss Shrieks, and that'll deal a lot of damage to him beforehand. You want to stay close, and he's only got 2 real moves that he can do. That dash, which you'll just dash through and then hit him, and that jump. And whenever he jumps up, just use your Abyss Shriek. If you get too far away from him, he will like throw some stuff at you. This move he starts once he gets below a certain HP threshold. Just dash through it, and you can either hit him or D-Dark. He doesn't have a lot of HP, so the fight is pretty quick. The main thing is just not to get hit by his charges. because they deal 2 damage. If you just run into him, it only does 1. But yeah, so make sure you exploit your Shade Dash and your Abyss Shrieks there. Alright, and the White Lady gives us the White Fragment. Once we get the other fragment, it'll be King Soul, and then we'll have to change it into Void Heart. I'm going to go ahead and call the episode here. Next time we'll get the other 2 Dreamers. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in part 4.